All right, guys, fast forward a few days. We got through the weekend and we received our new counterboring tool. We ordered this from McMaster Car and we are ready to get this job completed here. So I thought I would talk about this for just a minute for those that aren't familiar with this type of tool. So this is a counterboring tool, also known as a spot facer. You can use it for either counterboring or spot facing. In this particular setup that I got, we got two tools. We have our counterbore tool and we have our pilot here. You can get both of these in a wide variety of different diameters, both in inch and metric sizes. You can also buy these fully ground too, where it's just one solid tool. But in many cases, you know, you have a specific diameter that you need to line up on, and you have a specific diameter that you want to spot face or counterbore. So that's why we went with this here. So the pilot has a flat ground on it. Your tool always has a set screw in it there, so you can put these two together like so and tighten up the set screw to lock in the pilot there. All right, so we have a 1/4 inch diameter pilot, 17/32 diameter tool, and then we can use this to line up the hole that we already drilled, get it clamped down, and then simply come down and spot face it, which is what we're going to be using this tool for. In our case, we're actually going to be spot facing this side here, okay? There is a large radius in this corner right here. This is one of the bolts, and if you put that bolt in there, it's actually not sitting flat because it's hitting that radius in the corner. One of the main reasons why this needs to be spot faced. But it provides a nice, true flat surface for your hardware to pull against. And some might be asking, why don't you just use an end mill? Because you can very well use an end mill to do the same thing. The difference between a spot facing tool and an end mill, most of your typical end mills, the bottom of the cutter is going to be ground sort of like this. And they design it that way so that the center of your cutter, when you're doing some machining, is not rubbing your workpiece, and only the outer edges of the flutes are doing the cutting. All right, so if you come down with a cutter like that to spot face, just using, say, a 2-flute end mill, you're going to see it cut a circle first before it actually cleans the whole diameter up. And in a lot of cases, that's fine and that'll work too, but we want to actually make this a properly spot-faced feature in there so that it sits flat across the entire diameter of the hardware there. So that's why in cases like this, when you want a true spot face, you should go with a tool like this, or in your CNC, of course, you can do an interpolation with an end mill and actually, you know, sweep it and cut it nice and flat. But since we're in the manual milling machine, this is the tool of choice that we're going to be going with. Should be simple enough. And what I'm going to do, I thought about machining a spacer that would sit down in this, that we would set it on like so, because this face right here is not machined, and I would like to line up on the face that we machined so that we have true parallel surfaces whenever we do our spot face. So just to get by and get this job done much more quickly, I've got some setup blocks. I got some Fireball tool blocks that we'll set up, and we'll just set up 4 of them that this will sit down on that machined face. We'll use our 2 toe clamps that we've already got set up and just clamp that down. And all we need to do, honestly, we'll keep this in the spindle. We'll line up whatever hole we're going to line up there like so, get it lined up, just let it float, line up the tool, clamp it down, spot face it, and then we'll unclamp it. We'll move to the next hole, line it up, clamp it down, and just keep going that route. All right, so let's get back over on the KBC and get our pulley finished. We've got our 2-inch Fireball tool blocks there that we're going to use to set our pulley down on. Got them kind of pre-spaced out there. Main thing is that we just want to make sure that we're not sitting on the radius. We got that 1/8 radius on the inside. This should be pretty simple and quick to accomplish here. All right, and then we'll use our toe clamps here to hold it down. It's not going to take a lot of pressure to be able to hold this. And I went ahead and took these clamps here and I just filed the surface here so there wasn't any kind of burrs that was going to push down into this face and mar it up already than what it already has been. We're just trying to finish this out kind of quickly and not have to spend a whole bunch more time with different setups and things. That's why I opted not to machine that big spacer for the bottom of it and just use our blocks there. All right, so we'll swap this out. We're going to go ahead and put our tool directly into a collet, and then we'll get it finished set up. Okay, we've got our counterbore tool in a collet, and then we're just going to we'll just simply move this around and line up with our hole there. We'll just let it float into position. And then we've got our strap clamps ready. Got that brass underneath them, so it needs a little bit of compression there to hold it. Yep, okay. All right, and I've got the, I went ahead and got the quill. Let me just show you right up here. We got our quill positioned on the stop right there, and then we'll use our knee and we'll crank it up to the position that we want to mill the flat. All right, so let's go ahead and get the first one going here and get my crank handle ready. And hopefully once we get it set, we should be able to just go to that same stop on the quill every time. I think we'll just run it about there. That's 250 RPM. All right, quill's all the way down against the stop. I'm gonna lock it, and I'm gonna use the knee handle here to crank it up. And I'm just watching for it just to clean it up. All right, you can see there's still a little bit of black paint in there. We'll come back down. I'm just pushing down against the quill handle. Usually you have a few thou of pressure you can put on it and cut it. You can see it just cleaned it up. I'm gonna come up one more thou on the knee. There we have our first spot face. Let me get the bolt and we'll see what it looks like in there. There we are. And that diameter looks great. That's it. That is it right there. Now I'm going to try to, when I come down and make that cut, it's going to happen pretty quickly. If you can avoid letting the cutter rub at the bottom, you'll kind of eliminate any kind of chatter that it tries to put into the cut there. So let's just go ahead and reset. Let's see if I can make this happen very efficiently. I'm just going to move our clamps off out of the way. I said I was going to. Now this one's stuck. Why is that one stuck? Because I'm trying to be efficient at it. That's why. All right, so let's just rotate it around. And we're going to bring our pilot down and just go ahead and line up with the hole there. Let the thing float into position. And then put our clamp back on it. Yeah, see now this T-nut's wanting to stick whenever I bring it in there, so this isn't. What is wrong with that now? Why ain't it wanting to slide? See that? It's because I'm trying to show this on video and it's not wanting to cooperate. That's why. This is just ridiculous now. I had to turn the camera off there for a minute. This thing was not cooperating with me and it was starting to really annoy me, so I think we got it now. Doesn't take much to hold this. I think we got it right there. Let's Should be lined up. I'll give it another shot here. So this time I should be able to just take it down to our quill stop. I'm going to go up another thousandths. There we have it. Okay, simple as that. Takes longer to clamp it than it does to make the cut. I'm not going to keep boring you with moving the clamps, but I think you get the idea of what we have to do there. The problem with leaving them on there is when you go to turn it like this, they try to spin on you, but maybe that'll work too. So we'll give that a shot like so. Line up our counter bore. Make sure our blocks are seated under there nice and squarely, not on that radius. And then go ahead and clamp it down. All right, I think that's going to work. Let's go ahead and do this one too. All right, there we go. All right, we'll keep working our way around and getting all 16 of them completed. All right, now that we're about 8 holes in, I think I've got this kind of figured out to make it a little bit simpler. Just simply pick up on the pulley, get it off the blocks, keeps them from moving around, and just line it up like that. Just get the counter bore lined up, and then all you got to do is just straighten these clamps back up. Make sure that they're not sitting on that radius underneath there. Like that. That's working good. Well, that worked out well. I'm happy with the results. It was a pretty simple operation to get done, and we are now finished up. Go ahead and take our tool out of the collet here. That finishes it up. And you might be asking me about, hey, what about a chamfer? You didn't do that. I'm just going to use this little Noga tool right here to just break that edge off. This won't take much. We don't need a big chamfer on here. And we should be able to take this guy just like that. We're just breaking the edge off. That's working beautifully. Well, I believe that is going to wrap up the machining for our Harley-Davidson pulley. I'm real happy with the results. Everything looks good. Our spot facing worked out great with our counter boring tool there. Got it machined on the back side, our counter bore with our radius, our 4 dowel pins drilled and reamed in there. Just exactly as Tim has designed this. And next up is going to be machining the adapter plate that's going to adapt the brake drum to this pulley right here using this material. This is the material that Tim supplied to make it out of, so we're just going to make use with that. And that's what we're going to work on next. So I think we'll do a quick little mock-up here just to kind of show what this is kind of going to look like. We don't have our adapter, but I think this will kind of give you the idea. So I believe it's actually going to be, put that like so, and then our pulley, it's going to be sitting here kind of like this right here. I think it's going to be like that. I believe that's right. So this being the outside, you know, outside of the bike, and then the brake components slide in there that way. And our adapter plate is going to be drive riveted to the flange on that brake drum. He's got, that's the dowel pins and the rivets that he's going to be using to rivet the pulley to our adapter. And then our 16 holes that we just finished machining is what's going to, these bolts are going to hold that adapter up to the pulley there. So everything's coming together nicely. There's a drawing of the adapter that we're going to be machined. So this is the next part of the project right here. And that's what I'm going to get started on next. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this project up to this point. And I hope you come back and finish the conclusion of this Harley-Davidson project that we're working on for our buddy Tim. All right, guys, we will see you later.